Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy, the Kryptonian, saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 116. And this week, I'm going to be trying something different with my lighting. I've had to move some stuff around in my room. So, first of all, let me know, guys, is the lighting a little off? Kind of let me know in advance, and I'll be sure to try and get on that for the next week. But, with that being said, this is one of those wonky chapters where in One Piece I have a feeling you either love or you hate it. No worries, I enjoyed the chapter, but now you have giants involved in this. And I was kind of wondering where this was going to be going, last week, because on the chapter I uploaded Friday, that's when Nami's like, this is really a petting zoo, if you will, for giants. And when the chapter opens up, you got all these different things going on, but like you got Luffy on top of one of the dinosaurs, and Nami is freaking out, and this is what I really enjoy. She's freaking out along with Usopp because we have Brogy or Brogy. I'm gonna go with Brogy simply because of the way that it's written is Broggy, so I'm assuming that's how you do it. And I looked up some of the pronunciations on the fan forums and everything, and that's the one I've kind of gone with. So kind of let me know. Like, I don't know if this can be one of those instances where this is one of those for kids pronunciations or what, kind of like how it was Zolo and the Viz manga had Zolo, but it turned out it was Zoro. So with all that being said, I really enjoyed it when, Brogy's showing up and he's just like, do you have any ale? And Nami and Usopp, they're freaking out, and for good reason. It's a giant, okay? And later on in the chapter, we find out that, Brogy's got human skeletons there. So obviously he's not against eating people unless they just died of natural causes, which I doubt because, well, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not going to go that far with it. I'm not going to overthink it. But the thing is once, they see him, Nami and Usopp, they're both on the same page, which is funny because in the last chapter, they're calling each other useless. Both of them are like, okay, let's just play dead. That was absolutely hilarious, man. And one of the things I did enjoy about just that little scene right there is Brogy cuts off the head of the dinosaur that bites him on the butt. It's kind of like a dog was messing up and he just smacked him on the nose. That's how much ease he does it with. And he calls himself the mightiest warrior of the island that he's from. So I'm going, oh, okay. This is cool. And then when we transition over to Luffy and Vivi, they end up meeting this dude. It's not Brogy. It's Dorry. And the thing about him, he's saying he's the greatest warrior. So when I read that, and because the pages are so close together, I believe they're like 3 pages separated. And since they're so close together, I went back and I reread it. And the first thing that popped out was the design. Both of them were designed for combat. But the other thing that stood out was they both called themselves the greatest warrior from that island. So right away I'm going, okay, these two, they got to be getting into it. They got to be rivals of some sort, which is pretty fun, for me to read, because a few chapters back, I was telling you guys, I was like, man, I just realized Luffy doesn't really have a rival. And now it's just like, I guess like Oda's gotten to that point in this series when he was writing it where he was like, I got to introduce a rivalry. So it's kind of cool just to see, like, every time I'm like getting ready to nitpick on something, Oda automatically addresses it. I really love it. I really love that. Again, he's got a great a great knack for timing, and he's got a great copy editing eye, which is huge because a lot of writers don't have that. What I mean by copy editing is, continuity stuff or little small details where you're looking at a series and you're wondering how do things kind of fit in. It's the small details you tend to overlook that get pointed out in the revision process. And I can only imagine how hard that would be for a guy like Oda who has to work week by week by week. And my dude Josh, he usually comments a lot in the comment section. He sent me a PM, right? And it's a little off topic, but I'm gonna work it into the review, so just bear with me. But he sent me a PM, and in that PM he was talking about Togashi, the writer for Hunter x Hunter, right? And in that, Togashi was just talking about the strain and stress that comes from being a weekly manga writer. And when I wrote him back, I was just like, look, man, a big part of it is, you know, if you're doing like a novel or you're doing something for like a publication, you have like a deadline, and that's usually a few months where you get to write and make revisions. If you're doing the weekly stuff, you literally only have days. Like you might submit, from what I've seen as far as like the stuff I've looked up, they might submit a storyboard for up to 4 weeks at a time. But if there's something for the chapter that has to get done, even if you've got staff, you only have a certain number of days where you can make those changes and cram them in. So I can understand it, and I bring that up to say this: the fact that Oda is catching things, and I'm reading this kind of like on a weekly basis. Only it's, you know, I do a bulk review and I spread it out over a week. So I'm kind of going through it faster than what he's actually doing on a week by week. But the fact that he's able to catch these things as me as a reader, as I as a reader, am pointing the things out, really good. And I'll tip my hat to him for that. Now to get back into the story itself, I did think that it was pretty interesting that you had these two giants on both sides, and then you've got Zoro and you got Sanji in competition. And the reason why I think that that is interesting is because they're polar opposites in a way. They got a similar relationship in that it's a sibling rivalry. And when you look at these two giants, you know, they're not out for bloodlust. You know, they are trying to settle a dispute, and they use the central volcano going off as a, you know, like I used to run track. So like the little gun that they shoot, so that's like the signal for the match. And they've been going at it for 100 years, and it's kind of like brothers fighting. So I'm wondering, because you have Usopp and Nami on one side, then you got Luffy and Vivi on the other, and then you got Sanji and Zoro on two sides of the island. Are they going to have to pick sides? And maybe it's because I just read and did a video for the Marvel Civil War Part 2, the comic book stuff, where they're having to pick sides. This time it's going to be over this ability to basically police profile, stop crime before it happens. And so that's the big divide in the Marvel universe after the Secret Wars event. And maybe it's because I just read that, so I'm thinking of picking sides. But I don't think that this was done by accident. Again, they're on different sides of the island. Very, very key. Now, the other thing about this chapter, I said that it was a pretty fun chapter to read. And this is why I thought so. Because we have Luffy, once again, that carelessness. He's on top of a dinosaur, and he's like, this little thing just wants to eat grass. I'm not really worried about him. And then right there, he gets eaten. And I'm like, yo, are you serious? You just got eaten in the last arc. Like, the whale ate you. And now, right here, he's got to get saved. Because we got Dorry, but Dorry seems like he is a freaking giant version of Luffy, because he says, ho, 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 you know, that big old belly laugh. And he's like, here's a really lively human. I haven't had a guest for a while. But he's enjoying himself. And if you look, Luffy's got that nonchalant attitude about him. I really like that. And there's this one scene where they're talking and they're eating food, and Luffy's eating a meal prone for a giant, and then the giant looks like it's eating a meal that belongs on Weight Watchers. It's like you got this really skinny kid eating several times more than himself, and you got this really huge giant eating a meal that, like the cardio bunnies, as I call them, the women who use the treadmills and stuff at the gym, they're eating a meal like that. So I thought that was very, very nice. That's what I mean. It's little small things that Oda puts in the chapters that it really, if you just pay attention to it, you'll catch them, you can appreciate it. And if you don't, then it's really like whatever. You know, the best way I can kind of put it is, it's kind of like with Toriyama. Toriyama was a huge fan of like the monsters and the old 80s movies. And so, like, you know, Predator and that type of stuff. And you see it incorporated into the manga. And so right there, or the Dragon Ball manga, the anime, whichever one you prefer, it's the same thing with Oda. You know, I'm seeing little small things. I'm thinking I'm getting an idea for the type of stuff he likes away from One Piece. It's gonna be really interesting. I read the little artist comments and stuff where it's the fan corner. I really enjoy those. That's why I like buying the manga volumes. But that's really it for this review, guys. My chapter question for you guys is, what were your thoughts on the layout? And what I mean by the layout is, it looks like you've got the Straw Hat, everyone, they're just broken up. And so I'm really wondering, is this about to be some type of mini civil war? Because they've got a year they've got to spend on that island. And so I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I think 100-something chapters into a series is too early for a time skip. So I'm really wondering, is that 1 year thing? Was he just talking shit? Or does time move faster here? I'm not really sure. You know, the Grand Line is very wonky, and it would really suck if they're stuck there for a year, because they're on a time crunch mission to get back to Vivi's place. But that's it for this review, guys. I know it's kind of all over the place a little bit. You know, I had a lot I wanted to talk about. But if you liked anything I had to say, make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, share. I'll greatly appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching Kryptonian Saiyan. Have an awesome day.